wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess is on maternity leave, so Lauren LaRosa is filling in, and we got a special guest in the building.
Big money in the building.
Big money in the building.
Wow.
Big B.
Robert Kraft is here. He said he has a nickname. He said, "I'm God, you envy."
Right.
Lauren is single. So what are you? What are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, single. I'm a newlywed.
What are you?
But here's the deal. Well, I have a new football coach, and we had this big introduction, and
Talk about Gerard Mayo, first black coach for the Patriots.
Yeah, and he's awesome, and he calls me Young Thundercat.
Young Thundercat.
So you can call me RKK or Young Thundercat as he addresses it.
Okay.
And he started calling me that back in 2008 when we drafted him. So I've known him for, like 15 years. And
why the Thundercats? You was a fan of the cartoon, or?
I'm going to let you ask him that. He's the one who named me.
Had to come from somewhere.
What did you see from Gerard that made you hire him as the first black head coach of the Patriots?
Well, I saw him come in on our team as a 10th pick. We picked him in the first round, and that was actually at the time the highest pick we had ever had since I owned the team. That was in 2008. And the second year he was with, I think he got voted Defensive Rookie of the Year, number one. And then in his second year with us, he got elected captain. And guys voted for him who had won Super Bowls.
Wow.
So it told me something, that he could get respect of people that, and in locker rooms, I watched little things. And anyhow, he played for us for the next 7 years, or he played 8 years. And then he left us and went into private industry, worked in private industry, reached back out and said he really wanted to get into coaching. And he coached us 3-4 years. And so the varied experience was special. Now, I've taken 27 missions to the Holy Land, mainly Christians and athletes who haven't seen the country.
How about Israel?
Pardon?
Israel?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we were there, we had a group of athletes, and we were delayed at the airport, and I think there were like over 20. He organized them in the airport. He got a discussion going and showed just unique leadership. And in life, when you're hanging with people, you connect for different reasons. And the light went off, and I said, anyone that can relate like this to young people, because the world is different than I bought the team 31 years ago.
Wow.
And, I've watched the transition of players, the impact of social media, how you relate. It's different. You got to adapt. And I just thought he had something special, and I respected. I called my eldest son from the Holy Land that night, and I said, I think I got our next head coach.
Wow.
That was 5 years ago.
What still excites you? I mean, you did the Super Bowl thing. You owned all different types of teams. You're a philanthropist. You travel around the world. What still?
You're rich as shit.
Well, I was going to say that point, yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm comfortable.
What?
Yeah, right.
That's your version of comfortable.
More than comfortable.
If that's your version of comfortable, we are poor.
Yeah, let me hold something comfortable.
Let me hold it comfortable.
Can I tell you something? And it's why, today we launched a campaign to stop all hate. But
Timeout.
Why? Yeah, timeout again. But why did I do it? Because I was a kid who lived in a walk-up apartment. I went to college on a full scholarship. I went to graduate business school on a full scholarship. Didn't have a car till I was 25. And I dreamt big, and I had my dreams. And I was able to make a number of them come true. Like, I own an NFL franchise. in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a greater chance of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. There are 32 quarterbacks, and some of these teams don't sell for 100 years. But I did the things along the way I had to do, and we started a little paper and packaging company 52 years ago. We're in 127 countries today. And it's all because of our country and opportunities for anyone who wants to take advantage of it. And I see things changing, and that's why I started this campaign.
It seems like you've always, in more recent times, it seems like you've been involved in public service. Has that always been your thing? Have you always been involved in community issues and what's going on in society?
Yes, I was privileged to have great parents. I was a sort of a wild kid, a middle child, and I had a mom and dad who gave me great love. But my mom really disciplined me, thank God. And, if you're blessed to have one or two parents who give you good love and discipline, that's worth more than financial resources for you to operate in the world, because it gives you a strong foundation. But to answer your question, I had a dad who, while he didn't have material riches, he was the greatest man I ever knew because he was spiritual. And he left me an ethical will. And he said, when you go to bed at night, make sure the people you've touched that day are richer for having known you.
Wow.
And he, even though he had modest income, he taught me a rule. He said, you always give 10% of whatever your income is away as a minimum to people who are more needy.
Oh, wow.
And the only, he was a great man, and the only thing I ever heard my parents argue about was about money, because he was so good, he never was able to accumulate, but he was just, I was blessed to have that legacy. So I ask all of us out there who are privileged to have kids to invest that time and energy and try to give similar values.
That's right.
Now, when did you, I don't want to say when did you realize, but a lot of times people with a lot of money don't understand how bad it is for other people because they're never there. But you, on the other hand, are completely opposite. Like you do things that most people don't do. We've seen you do it with Meek. We see you do it with all these other organizations. Why?
Well, it goes back to my dad, but I mean, the quality that we've lost in society today is empathy. We don't listen to what's going on. And look, that's why I think your show is amazing. I don't know, you connect with 4 or 5 million people. You give a message.
8, but who's counting?
8 million. Maybe it's 12 and they're under-reporting,
Maybe.
so
There you
they
go,
don't
yeah.
have to pay you for those ads.
That's right.
The way they should. That's probably the case. But think about it. You're relating in a way that people can connect, and your messaging connects. And what's happened in the world today is people aren't caring about other people. And look, I don't know what it's like to walk in a room and be a man of color or a woman of color, and how people treat you and what your psyche is, how you have to act. And it's got to be difficult in many ways that white people don't understand or don't empathize with. But we as society have to understand that, and we're all human beings. We had no choice the way we came into this world, and if you were blessed to have 1 or 2 good parents, that's the greatest. But if not, we gotta, the thing that bothers me now is people are just going in their own lanes and not opening up. And especially social media is creating that, where, people just talk to one another in a way, how did I build my businesses? I would relate to someone who was much different than I, and I had to listen to what that person was saying, and maybe change my way or go to where that person is thinking. And then it's the only way you can do big things. But today, people aren't doing that. They're just going in their own lanes and staying with similar people. We got to change that.
I agree. What do you think the difference is? What's the difference between Timeout Against Hate and your nonprofit, the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism?
Well, I started this Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism back in 2019 because I saw what was going on in Charlottesville and 17 guys carrying signs saying Jews or blacks won't replace us. And then in 19, the Tree of Life in a synagogue, you have someone come and shoot and kill people. Think about going to church. Church is a place where you have some kind of spiritual connection. You don't feel safe in the United States of America. So I saw signs in 2019 what was going on in Nazi Germany in the 30s. And I don't want America to be what Germany was in the 40s. So I started this foundation because it usually the hate starts over the last 100 years, if you look at history, with Jewish people. And then it goes to every group, black, gay, Hispanic, Asian, you name it. And look, this country was great to me. We've had a lot of improprieties. Think of the way people of color have been treated. It's crazy. The whole concept of slavery, I mean, in the modern world, I can't believe that people did that. And so we have to make it right and build bridges. And those of us that are privileged to be able to do things and pay our bills, we got to find ways to build bridges and bring people together. And this country, with all its faults, is still the greatest country in the world. Think about it. We elected a man of color as president. There's no other Western country that's done that. So with all our faults, and we still got to correct a lot of things, and I think the most injustices have been done to people of color. You mentioned Meek. Can I just say this? Because
of course.
Yeah. I mean, I had developed no one believes Meek and I are really friends. And I had developed a relationship with him through a mutual friend, Michael Rubin, and he started calling me and asking me questions about how he could grow and prosper. And then he got thrown in jail for doing a wheelie. He invited me to visit him in jail. Now, I'd never been to a jail. And going and visiting him in jail changed my life. I couldn't believe in the United States of America, we would take a guy, look, he could be out earning millions of dollars, hiring employees, paying people salaries that could help their family.
Paying taxes.
And our system, because of bigotry, is putting a guy in jail. It's great. And when I met him, it really changed my life. He was nice, and he told me they fixed up the jail when they painted it. They knew I was coming, which is crazy to me. And he was nice. I said, how come you don't have an edge? I'd be ticked. And
He's used to
He's
it.
not allowed to have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He said, I expected it. And then, I got into it with my buddy, and I came out, by the way, and I spoke to the media after listening. He got out of jail 2-3 days later, and he told me I made a difference. And it just told me how screwed up our system was, and we got to change this whole bail and situation. And because of that, a few of us got together, Michael and Jay-Z and Meek and myself, and we started this Reform Alliance to try. We have to correct that system. It's a great injustice in America.
I agree. I want to go back to something you said, though, because you have donated money to Democratic politicians. You donated the most money to President Obama's campaign out of all the NFL owners. But you talked about what happened in Charlottesville. You're also good friends with Donald Trump. And in 2017, you said Trump will be great for the economy. So how do you feel about him in 2024? Because he's fueled a lot of the dangerous things that have happened that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, let me just say, I'm a Democrat. I was head of the Democratic City Committee in Brookline and Newton, and I ran Teddy Kennedy's reelection campaign with a young man called Tommy O'Neill in Boston, who was Tip O'Neill's son. And I've always been Democratic. Donald Trump became a social friend in the early 90s when I was going down to Florida. And then when my wife of blessed memory died 13 years ago, he was one of 4 or 5 people who reached out to me and was really, really nice. The only donation I ever gave to him was he called me when he got elected, and I made a strong donation to his inauguration. I couldn't believe it. It was like having someone who's a drunk fraternity brother become president of the United States. I mean, I couldn't believe that he was, and yeah, I think he did things. I mean, I'll say this, since I was very upset what happened January 6th.
He led an insurrection in this country.
Pardon?
I think he led an insurrection in this country. Yeah.
And I haven't talked to him since then.
I was going to ask that you reach out to him after that to have a
Pardon?
conversation. I was going to ask that you reach out to him after that to have a conversation, because if you're upset.
No, I was really upset because just like what's going on with our campaign to stop hate, there are things going on in the country. Look, I can pay my bills. God's been good, except for losing my first wife. I'm one of the luckiest guys walking the planet.
Wow.
So I want to build bridges, bring people together, and owning the Patriots as, I worked very hard to get it. There's a book called The Dynasty that explains the whole story. But the biggest thing that came to me, because I used to sit in the stands and dream about owning what I do. And, 9/11 happened. 4 months later, we win the Super Bowl. A team called the Patriots in America, wearing red, white, and blue uniforms.
My dad thought that was a conspiracy back then because we're Cowboys fans. And so we always said the Cowboys is America's team. And I remember when y'all won the Super Bowl, and he was like, this is a conspiracy. 9/11 just happened. The NFL rigged this for the Patriots to win.
Well, I understand Dad saying that because Cowboy fans are very loyal. But we're red, white, and blue. Our name was the Patriots. Boston is a city of 600,000 people. What happened 24 hours later, one of the coldest days, I think it was February 3rd or 4th, 1.5 million people came to the streets of Boston. Gay people, black people, Asians, whites, everyone came to celebrate the team. And it just showed me the power of sport in a way. It's why, with this campaign to stop all hate, our foundation, we worked hard. It's the first time in over 100 years all the sports leagues
shows unity.
Unity, and that's what we need.
That's
we're
right.
brothers and sisters. I mean, we're all. We didn't have any choice how we're born, what religion we're born, what skin color, how our eyes are shaped, what we look like.
That's right.
But we got a chance. Hopefully you're born with good characteristics where you can function and not have certain proclivities that keep you from doing things. So my life is about building bridges, giving everyone a chance. It's good business for us to have everyone who's born into this world to live their dreams.
I got to ask a question. You said you're a Democrat, Most people would assume
I
that you would
know.
be a Republican because of the tax breaks and the money and all that other stuff. So what made you say I want to be a Democrat? What made you for the people?
No, that's how I got elected when I was in my 20s. There was a very liberal community, and older people, and they were fighting, and they picked me because I want to build bridges, and I thought, I'm a little disturbed with the Democratic Party today.
Why?
Well, I think there's a group of progressives who have come in that are not building bridges and listening, and they're preaching hate just the same way. There never used to be an extreme like that, the way it's done on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think, we need once you can pay your bills, you got to work to try to, if you have your health and can pay your bills, God's been good.
Mm-hmm.
You got to then work to make the surrounding things around you good. I love the way 100 years ago, the black and Jewish people, their skin isn't black. But after, the discrimination to the Jewish community has been the same to black, except for that I don't know what it's like to walk in a room and have people look at you like that, like people might not know when I walk into a room. But I stay true to what my values and what I've been, and try to be a good human being.
Are you supporting the vice president?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you
Have
like
you
Kamala?
donated to her campaign? Or?
I haven't supported any political person since I've started this Blue Square, because I don't want to be political. I want what's best for the country. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm really worried. Part of the reason we started this campaign, and it inaugurated today with these ads that are going to run. There's an ad that's going to run on the game tonight. We just did a big interview with NBC that aired and CNBC, and this is my second stop on one of the biggest days, and it comes out of respect to you all and your audience and the message we're trying to get out there.
Let me ask you a question. If you're against bigotry and you're against hate, why would you choose not to be involved in the election in this year with somebody like Trump having an opportunity to be back in the White House? You said you didn't like what he did on January 6th, led an insurrection in this country. So why wouldn't you want to be involved?
Because when I started this foundation, as soon as you take a political position or state, you alienate 30%, 40%. I don't have the answer. I've met with the vice president's husband. He's come and visited I hope one day you all come and see our command center, where we have a wall tied to 300 million websites all over the world, and we're watching trends in hate, and we're trying to monitor it. And we've worked with Doug Emhoff on this. The White House has tapped him as leading in this effort. But once we take a side politically, then we alienate people. And I don't want to. I want everyone. What we're preaching in our foundation, and you look, we were able to get the 7 sports leagues and NASCAR, which is mid-America, and a different, I don't know how many NASCAR fans are listening to your show, but we were able to bring them all together, and they're all together preaching against hate and trying to keep civility, and still the greatest, with all our faults in this country, we're the greatest country for opportunity. Look look what you folks are doing with this show. But we got to work at it.
This is my last political question. Why tell people you're a Democrat then? Because I was shocked when you said that because of the fact you're an owner of the team.
You can go back and look. When I was 28 years old, I was elected chair of the Democrat. I'm probably an independent now. Well, I have not. What I don't like. I used to think I would run for political office. I had the privilege of being elected president of my class, senior class in high school, and then in college, and I love doing that. But then, the more I got out and trying to support my family, I saw that politics, there was too much phoniness, and just it wasn't something I wanted to devote my time to. So I decided I could have a bigger impact doing philanthropy once I started making a few dollars, and trying to be showing initiative as a businessman, doing my philanthropic things and trying to be creative. It's like getting exposure to me. I'd never been to a jail, I told you, and I saw the craziness, and that got us to start together with the partners, the Reform Alliance, that we should get 1 million people, change their situation to give them a chance to get out in society. But we're doing that in other areas. And once you get political, you alienate people.
Go ahead. Finish.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to know, so by you saying you're not getting involved in the election, are you going to vote though?
Absolutely.
Okay, but you just don't want to come out and say who you're voting for.
Well, yeah, because when you do that, let me just say this. People from both sides, both parties, right at the top, have reached out to us and want us to be involved. And I think we bring more value to this country and to people who are needy by being in the position we're in, and not, look, I see my ancestors came here as immigrants. I went to school on scholarship. The country allowed me to go function and fight battles and dream my dream. I want that for everyone coming into this country. And when you get involved in politics, it's sad to me to see that, I go back, none of you were on the earth when Ronald Reagan was president. But when he was president, there was a guy who was Speaker of the House by the name of Tip O'Neill. He was from Massachusetts, Cambridge, where Harvard is. And, they used to fight each other like crazy during the day. 5:30, they'd have a beer. And then they'd go play 9 holes, and they do business for America. Today, we're not doing that. People don't even listen to one another. They're not coming together. And my life will be about building bridges and bringing all people to the best of my ability. And fighting hate now, think about, I'm very proud that we were able to bring all the sports commissioners, women, men, NASCAR together to do this campaign of timeout. By the way, what is a timeout? When do you call that in a sport? You're doing it when things aren't going right. You want to win. You want to win your game. You got to readjust your strategy and do things that'll be good, that allow you to win. That's what we're doing in America. We're trying to call a timeout and have all people come together. How do I benefit by demeaning anyone, any group that's given even if they think differently than I want them to have their chance, but do it straight and be respectful of all people.
Do you think that's the reason why your franchise is so successful? When you look at all these other franchises, you've had a very successful franchise other than my New York Giants. But besides that, do you think that's the why? Because you have that way of thinking of unity and getting it together?
Well, I'll tell you, when we bought, it's a good question. I always have tried to incorporate everyone. When we bought the Patriots, in 34 years, they had never sold out. So the local games were always blacked out. I sat in those stands dreaming what I would do. And when I was privileged to take it over, I tried to bring everyone in. And in the first year, we sold out. We got over 100,000 people on a paid waiting list to buy seats to something that wasn't that way. And, I had the good fortune to we drafted this guy by the name of Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And I had
Never heard of him.
Yeah. No, I know most people
The
don't.
Giants have. The Giants have heard of him a couple of times.
Well, in the Big Apple, you guys, we're in Beantown in the village up there.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I decided with my nose to hire a coach that everyone told me I shouldn't. And I kept them together for 20 years. And we built bridges the way I'm talking about here. We kept it together. And, in our history since we've bought our Patriots, we have the best winning percentage for championships of any sports team in any league anywhere in the world. And I'm very proud of that.
That's because y'all cheat.
Well,
which I don't have a problem with. I wish my Cowboys would cheat.
okay, but see what you're saying? That's what I call envy and jealousy. And
They haven't won in a long time.
look at you folks. You're doing this show. You don't think there are people that hate you that you're so successful?
Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
And want to try to throw digs and throw.
Of course.
So jealous and envy. I have a saying. Actually,
Uh-oh.
Oh, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he don't give
I
no
thought
money.
the money
He
was
don't
for
get
us too. I was like, oh, I'm in jealousy and envy.
okay, this is an RKK.
Okay.
Read that.
Jealousy and envy are incurable diseases, and it's the one time it is better to be a recipient than a donor.
There you go.
I
You
agree.
carry that around all the time?
Yeah, I give them out.
Oh.
Because
There's about 3 other things in your pocket you could have gave me other than this.
I know I'm a slob. I carry it loose and don't tell anyone.
I do want to ask though. Like, there's always this debate between Belichick and Brady and who's responsible for the Patriots' success. How much credit should you get? They never put your name in those conversations.
Well, I'll let you decide that. Here's the deal. We were in business 34 years. How many home playoff games do you think they had in those 34 years, the Patriots?
That's a good question. I don't know. Never
Take
thought
a
about it.
guess.
How many home games?
Playoffs.
Playoff games.
34
No,
years.
hell no. Way more than 2. Maybe like 20?
2.
You're half right.
4.
1.
1. Wow.
And they lost
Wow.
to the Houston Oilers. I was sitting in the stands. Earl Campbell, you remember that name?
Yeah.
He ran for over 200 yards and we lost. And I believe, we've had 31 home playoff games and won 27 in the 30 years. We've gone to 10 Super Bowls and won 6.
I heard the question wrong. I thought you meant when how many playoff games did y'all have at home?
Oh, yeah.
You meant the Patriots before you bought it.
before.
Oh,
Before.
okay.
Excuse me for not being
No, before.
clear. But anyhow, what you folks have created here is amazing.
We're trying to be a dynasty like y'all are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know what? To do it in the medium you're doing and it's much harder in the media world to keep it here. And the fact that you're relevant and doing it so you can influence people. And I just hope we're building on the building blocks that are good. That I know we got a lot of problems in the country, but it's still the best effing country
I agree.
in the world.
Did Tom need Bill or did Bill need Tom?
It's like, well, I don't know. All right, you're not married.
No.
Hell no.
So a lot of guys are having their eye in that direction. I see. Are you two married?
Yes,
23
sir.
years.
Yep.
How many?
26 years. Well, married for 10, but we've been with my wife for 26 years.
Married
Okay.
23 years.
So think about your marriage. And by the way, that decision, if you get the right person, you're going to go through tough times.
Absolutely.
But you stay together, especially if you have kids, and the dividends you get later.
Mm-hmm.
But who's more responsible for keeping it together? How do you answer that? And that's
My
Well, that's
wife.
easy, my wife.
okay.
That's smart. That's
That's
smart.
an easy one, my wife.
I get where you were going. Like it's a give and take dependent, but they're smart. They know how to answer.
And
it.
my wife.
Yeah. So you get it.
Yeah.
That's why she's single.
She not only has the good look, she's got the brains.
Thank you. But wait. So you and Belichick, like, what's the relationship now? Because it's been on and off rumors that y'all don't really like each other like that.
Look, I mean, I kept him for 24 years. I didn't enjoy having to fire him, but I tried to do it. If you look at the press conference and how it happened, try to do it in a classy way. And what he did for us was great. People need to adapt. And if they don't, or look at you folks together, things can change. In life, it's about getting good chemistry and trust and feel that, our record the last 3 to 4 years wasn't what I wanted. And I had given him so much power. He had full control over everything. And shame on me, I should have had some checks and balances better. But he had earned that right. But then the results weren't there. And if you're in the sports business, you win or you lose. There's no gray.
Right.
And I hate losing.
Now, Brady.
Were the Patriots ever seriously thinking about signing Colin Kaepernick?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Why didn't you?
Well, first of all, those are decisions. I've never, we just changed. We have a new quarterback starting this week.
Mm-hmm.
I let my football people make decisions. I'm happy to discuss things. I think it would have been a great thing for us to have hired him because it would have been a great statement to the country and, here, the best team, the best coach, everything. The NFL is not a straight line business. Personnel decisions are a function of, many things going on. When you bring in a quarterback, how does it affect the second and third quarterback? How does it affect the team? We're trying to do things that always build team first. And in America, what's happening now, and the NFL is the perfect example, if you don't have everybody on the same page, you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the greatest quarterback, but it's not like other sports where you can have one or two great people and it can impact, great pitcher, great center. In football, special teams can lose you a game if they let a run back go, or offense by fumbling. You can have the greatest defense and your offense gives. So you need it's what has to go on in America. You need everybody pulling together, and it's hard.
So was it Rock Nation that was pushing for you to sign Cap, or why didn't you do it? Was he blackballed? What was the reason that it just didn't happen?
Well, there were a lot of variables.
Mm-hmm.
It just I didn't make that final decision. There were serious considerations, and it was in the end, the bottom line is every decision we're making with the NFL team on the game field is going to help us win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
And
It wasn't a fit.
Pardon?
It wasn't a fit.
Well, I'll let you ask Coach Belichick that.
Now, listen,
Gotcha.
on the FX show, it looked like you be calling shots. On the Aaron Hernandez show on FX, and they got you in the draft room, and you were the one who said, pick him.
No, I don't know.
That's not how it happened?
No.
Have you watched the show?
No. What's it called?
What is the name of the Aaron Hernandez show? It's a scripted show on FX about Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, I heard they're out and they got No, I
it's not.
haven't seen that. They got some dude
American
playing
Sports
me.
Story.
American Sports Story, yeah. The guy, he's a terrible actor.
He said, I've never even seen that show.
Yeah,
It's fiction, so I don't. I don't.
But they discuss stuff with you though, right? When, like after they make those decisions, it's not communicated to you.
Definitely. And
He paid the bills.
I'm just saying that because he's saying he don't really know it's for the football guys.
No,
but
wait. The one thing we've said, they can draft whomever they want. They can do it. Except we never want to bring a person into our system who has done the wrong thing by women. That's not allowed. They're not, and I think in our third year of ownership, we drafted someone who had abused women in his fraternity. It was covered up to me. It was a guy who should have gone in the first or second round. We got him in the fifth or sixth round. And when I found out after the draft, we cut him before he even came.
Wow.
And we're trying to send a message to any coaches we ever had. That's the one thing. I mean, I was blessed. I have a new wife who's awesome, and I had a first wife who I told you died 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And respect for women is a community thing that we can't have players that have abused women and be part of our team and culture.
I wanted to know, when Brady went to the Buccaneers, how did that hurt you? How did that affect you? Because that was your guy for so many years. And did y'all have a conversation, and how do you feel about him when it happened and now?
Well, here's what happened. He and Bill had some
Problems.
Yeah, let's say they weren't best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I negotiated his contracts with him the last 12 years. And he was always put team first. And I was able to convince him not to always, we have a salary cap in the NFL.
Right.
So I said, look, it'd be better if you didn't take the full amount that you would want by other quarterbacks. Because whatever we don't pay you, not going in my pocket, it's going to other players to make you better.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do as well as I hope, the greatest beneficiary will be you. It doesn't go to the long-term benefit, doesn't go to the club or the coach. It goes, remember Joe Montana and people like that, Roger Staubach. And sure enough, he listened to me and he took less money. And we were able to get great support people around. We spend to the cap every year.
Mm-hmm.
And he listened and he did it. And he was just unusual. But when I did the last contract with him, which would have completed 20 years with us, I said, look, I won't allow Bill or the team to franchise you. If you don't want to stay here after this, which had 2 years to go, you'll decide. And I'll never forget that. I believe it was in the month of March. He lived down the street from me, came to my house, and I opened the door. He started crying, and he hugged me, and he said, I've made a decision. I'm going to leave the Patriots after 20 years. And I had, we normally would have franchised someone like that and have not allowed him, but I kept my word to him, and it was one of the worst days. It's like
almost like losing a son.
Losing a child. Yeah. I mean, and he and I, look, he grew up with us. I love the guy. He's one of a kind. I went to his marriage when he married Giselle down in Costa Rica, and he spent half his life with us, and we when he was with Bridget Moynihan and everything. And he's one of the most amazing human beings on the planet. He's a guy, when he goes in the huddle, he makes average players better.
That's right.
But he's got a heart of gold, and he'll cry talking about an injustice. He cried that whole time when he had to leave us. And I understood it. He lived under an arrangement that was very difficult for him the last decade. But, he's an amazing human being. He's part of my family to this day, and I love him dearly.
I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about the violence against women and how serious you guys take that. So Jabril Peppers right now is all over the news for domestic violence charges against his significant other. And in the beginning of it, Jared Mayo has said that you guys didn't know enough to not allow him into the facility, and then that changed. Now he's on the commissioner's exempt list. So do you guys conduct your own investigations? What was found? Like, what was the change there? Because
yes,
I know
we are doing. That's a very good question. And we're living in a world now with so much on social media, and so much that's reported is unfair in these kind of situations. And when you read the thing initially, it turns your stomach. But we've learned, and I don't know the facts in this case, and Gerard called me, we spoke about it. Once he goes on the commissioner exempt list, they do their independent checking. We're doing ours. And if was reported as true, he's gone. There have been some suggestions that this was a setup, and a lot of what's reported is not accurate. I just
how do you not to cut you
if
off?
I can just finish
go
that.
ahead.
I've seen in life that if someone, take any one of the three of you, you have profiles. If someone could set up something and say something that's just not true.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. So one of the things, and I've personally had that happen with me. So, I have a saying that I use to all my key people. In important decisions in life, you measure 9 times and you cut once. And I think in this case, if what's been reported is true, he's gone. But we want to get the facts.
I had one more question. I was going to say, were you guys in your investigation able to see, his lawyer had mentioned there was videotape evidence that suggested that this may not have been what it was reported as. Did you guys see that videotape? Is why you say that?
Since this came out, I've been in New York. I've talked to Gerard and our legal counsel and other support people. The easy thing would have been to cut him right away, but we're trying to measure 9 times and do right by him. If the facts are as been reported publicly, then he's not with us. There is a possibility there's a different explanation and the facts are different. So I'm personally just going to wait, knowing how these things can be unfair.
One last question.
Because, excuse me, you know what, and this bothers me, and you folks are a very important platform for getting the message out. Make sure you get the facts.
Absolutely.
And there's too much of this going on, and then it just becomes it ripple effect, and that's not good for any of us. And people love, how I gave you the jealousy and envy?
Yeah.
We can get them.
Right.
So I'm just saying,
I thought you was about to ask, how can you get it up? I was like, there's this thing called Blue Chew, right?
Oh,
It's
my
this little
goodness.
blue pill.
yeah,
You take it.
some of us don't need it.
Talk that talk, Robert Kraft. Talk that talk.
So I do got one last question, though. Why do you believe you're not in the NFL Hall of Fame yet? Because I don't know why you're not. It makes no sense to me.
Read that card.
Jealousy and
Jealousy
envy.
and envy. Wow.
Wait, if I don't really, to be honest, I don't care, because on merit, I think most people who are objective, this is people. It doesn't mean anything to me. What I'm doing more in my foundation to combat, that has a greater impact. Whether it just, I think the hall, and it's happened with other people, so it demeans the value of it. It should be an objectivity. So in life, the key thing is to dream your dream, hang with good people of good character, and build bridges. And that's what my life is about.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Kraft, we appreciate you for joining us.
And
Absolutely.
thank you. I'm honored to be here. And I congratulate you all for building the equity brand that you've done here.
I hear good things from you from so many people, so it was a pleasure to
So what's
to
my
meet you.
name?
Thundercat.
Young
OG
Thundercat.
Thundercat.
Young Thundercat. Young Thundercat. All right.
That's a Gerard opening.
All right. Well, it's
Thank
Rob.
you.
That's
It's
right.
Robert
Thank you,
Kraft.
guys,
Thank you.
And the lovely.
Lauren, it's okay.
Single.
He started to say that, I
He
think.
was
and
a
then he
lovely
stopped.
single.
I think he stopped.
It's Robert Kraft. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.